The story begins in a building in Beijing where 3 people were playing a game and gambling. A woman received a bad hand, leaving her slightly disappointed. Just then, her son, dressed in an Iron Man suit, came up to her and said, "Mom, I can shoot rockets and fly in the air." The mother, so engrossed in her gambling, paid no attention to him. Moments later, the child climbed onto the balcony and, proclaiming, "I can fly," jumped off. At the same moment, an old janitor standing below saw the child fall. He suddenly extended his arm, which stretched several feet, and saved the child just in time. The old man then gently explained to the boy, "Son, there are no real-life Spider-Men or Iron Men. What's going on in your head?" Soon, a crowd gathered around, having witnessed this miraculous event. The old man then addressed the onlookers, saying, "Come closer. Let me take your picture here." He pressed a button on a special device, erasing everyone's memory of the incident. The boy's mother arrived, running, deeply ashamed of her carelessness, and promised her child that she would never gamble again. Next, we see a place called the Sidewalk Cafe, bustling with customers. Everyone was shouting at the cook for the long wait for kebab. The cook, overwhelmed by the pressure, discreetly placed his hand under the grill and ignited his palm to speed up the cooking process. This man's name was Fireman. The scene shifts to a nightclub where a lively party was underway. A girl performing pole dances was captivating the audience, but a sleazy man approached her, sticking out his tongue and trying to dance close to her. The girl discreetly touched the pole, sending an electric current through it that shocked the man intensely. As expected, this girl's name was Electric Girl. Next, we meet another member of the superhero team, disguised as an ordinary security guard. A girl's car was stuck in a ditch, and after ensuring no one was watching, he placed his hand on the car, turning it into metal. He then easily lifted the car out of the ditch. This superhero's name was Iron Arm. Soon after, their leader, Pharaoh, called them, informing them about a tip-off regarding thieves planning to rob a museum. The superhero team promptly arrived at the scene. Shortly after, the thieves arrived in a black car, disabling the security cameras with a shot and preparing their high-tech device. Just as they were about to detonate a bomb, another man, dressed as Superman, made a dramatic entrance. This new superhero, named Sticky, was recently recruited by Pharaoh. However, Sticky had not been invited to this mission. Ignoring this, Sticky immediately attacked the thieves, using his adhesive spit, stickier than glue, to immobilize them. Seeing this, the other superheroes joined in to help, quickly overpowering the thief. Pharaoh noticed that one thief was still conscious and used his hypnotic eye power to control him. The thief suddenly believed Pharaoh was his father, falling at his feet and begging for forgiveness. He confessed they were stealing the pig-shaped lid to sell it to a wealthy businessman who needed bulletproof iron for a tank. Hearing this, Pharaoh used his device to erase the thief's memory. Sticky expected praise for his bravery, but instead, Pharaoh scolded him for interfering without permission, pointing out that his actions could have ruined everything. Later, Pharaoh received a call from the commissioner, who thanked him for completing the mission and exposing the gang stealing the piglet. After the mission, Pharaoh introduced Sticky to the rest of the team at their headquarters. He revealed that Sticky's unique abilities came from accidentally ingesting glue as a child, which caused strange reactions in his body. Sticky's sweat, spit, and even urine became sticky. Sticky demonstrated his powers to the team, feeling superior, but Iron Arm quickly put him in his place by effortlessly throwing him from one corner of the room to another. Pharaoh emphasized the team's golden rule, to live as ordinary people to avoid suspicion. Sticky was reluctantly assigned a delivery boy job. Sticky argued he was meant to save lives, not waste time delivering parcels. During one delivery, Sticky broke the rule by using his sticky sweat to climb buildings like Spiderman. A woman inside saw him through the window and fainted in fear, mumbling about a ghost walking on walls. Fortunately, Pharaoh erased her memory just in time. Meanwhile, we see a large company called Seven, where the director, Chong, was hosting a meeting with investors. Chong introduced a young scientist named Dr. Bill, who had invented a unique cloning compound. Dr. Bill demonstrated his invention by injecting an orange, which grew and replicated into 2 identical oranges within moments. The investors were impressed, noting that the taste of both oranges was identical. They assured Chong they would invest in the project. Overjoyed, Chong told Dr. Bill he would soon be on the cover of a science magazine. On the other hand, Pharaoh reprimanded Sticky for exposing his powers in public. Sticky argued he couldn't waste his time on trivial tasks and had a duty to fight crime. Suddenly, a charming girl mistook him for a courier worker and asked him to help her pack belongings at her house. Sticky, smitten, followed her home silently. The girl introduced herself as Saw, a popular blogger, and started live streaming. Sticky, while using the bathroom, spotted a cockroach and panicked. In the commotion, his sticky urine spread everywhere, and he accidentally touched Saw's drying undergarments. When Saw heard the noise, she found him holding her bra, which made her furious. Sticky tried to explain, but Saw twisted her ankle and almost fell. Sticky caught her in his arms, accidentally pulling her shirt off, leading to an embarrassing live-streamed moment. Mortified, Saw berated Sticky, who fled the scene. Back at the 7 lab, Dr. Bill was attempting to clone a mouse using his compound. However, the mouse's body exploded upon injection, killing it. Chong caught him in the act and scolded him for conducting illegal cloning experiments on living creatures, warning that exposure could lead to significant trouble. Bill tried to convince Chong that if he successfully cloned living beings, he would become the greatest scientist in the world. Bill believed that with this technique, they could eventually recreate human organs like kidneys, hearts, and livers, which would benefit humanity greatly. However, Chong refused to listen and ordered him to stop such experiments. Left with no choice, Bill halted his work temporarily. Meanwhile, Sticky went to Pharaoh, complaining about strange changes in his body. He explained that he had never been affected by his sticky urine to the extent of getting stuck to something. Pharaoh tied him to a bed and explained that this was happening due to stress. When Sticky's adrenaline level spiked, he lost control of his power. Pharaoh assured him that a small cut on his palm would fix everything. Sticky initially agreed but panicked when he saw Pharaoh glancing at his weapon. Frightened, Sticky yelled, "You old man, where are you going to cut me?" Pharaoh calmed him down, clarifying that the cut would only be on his hand. After the minor surgery, Sticky regained control over his hands and created a new superhero suit for himself. He also learned how to control his powers better. Returning to his delivery job, Sticky brought a parcel to Saw's house. Upon seeing him, Saw was furious, but Sticky handed her the undergarments he had previously taken, explaining that he had cleaned them thoroughly. However, when Saw opened the box, it contained a mannequin of a naked man. Furious, she started beating Sticky, calling him a pervert. Just then, her neighbor appeared and took the mannequin, revealing that the parcel was actually meant for him, not Saw. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Sticky told Saw she had misjudged him last time as well. Saw finally realized Sticky wasn't a bad person. Just then, Saw received a phone call and rushed outside, leaving Sticky behind. She met her father, who turned out to be none other than Chong, the director of Seven. Sticky was thrilled to learn that the woman he liked was not only beautiful but also rich. Meanwhile, Bill secretly resumed his experiments on rats. He had convinced his co-workers to side with him, ensuring they wouldn't reveal his activity. After numerous trials, he successfully cloned a rat. The next morning, Pharaoh briefed the superhero team about a new mission. However, the team was unhappy with Sticky's inclusion, fearing he might mess things up. Pharaoh reassured them that Sticky was ready for the mission. When the mission began, Sticky outpaced the other superheroes, taking down all the thugs quick. Only one villain remained. Just as Sticky was about to attack him, he saw Saw walking nearby while live streaming. One of the thugs suddenly attacked her. Sticky abandoned everything to save Saw, using his sticky liquid to immobilize the thug. However, the villain pushed Saw off the building. Sticky jumped after her and caught her mid-air, saving her life. Saw was deeply impressed and asked for his name, but Pharaoh erased her memory, making her believe it was just a cheap film shoot for an upcoming movie. When Saw returned home, her friend called to ask what had happened. That's when Saw realized that her live stream had captured everything. Watching the footage on TV, Saw regained her memory. The news of this new superhero spread like wildfire, and Sticky became famous overnight. Celebrities talked about him, songs were made in his honor, and everyone wanted to know more about him. Pharaoh was furious, but the commissioner called to say they had no choice but to keep Sticky as a public superhero to draw attention away from the rest of the team. Pharaoh took Sticky to meet a central television producer, where Sticky showcased his abilities and proved he was the superhero seen in the footage. Sticky quickly became a celebrity, appearing in ads, judging singing shows, and holding press conferences. He claimed credit for all the miraculous rescues previously performed by the superhero team. Watching this, Iron Arm was enraged, as this newcomer was taking credit for their hard work. However, Sticky's troubles soon began. As his identity became public, ordinary people and villains alike started recognizing him. One man faked a robbery, only to use the attention on Sticky to advertise his store. Others staged fake attacks to meet Sticky. Sticky complained to Pharaoh during a meeting, blaming his fame for these problems. Meanwhile, Saw was madly in love with Sticky. At a public event, she pushed through the crowd to reach him. But just as she got close, Iron Arm, disguised in his security security uniform, arrived and attacked Sticky, furious over Sticky taking credit for their mission. Sticky retaliated by spilling sticky liquid on Iron Arm's lip. At that moment, Saw barged into the room, causing the door to hit Sticky, making his lips stick to Iron Arm. Seeing this, Saw assumed Sticky was gay and ran away in tears. Sticky later went to Saw's house in his courier disguise to explain. He claimed to know the superhero personally and promised to introduce them. He assured her that the misunderstanding about his sexuality was false. Saw, relieved, hugged him excitedly. Meanwhile, at the 7 Company office, Chang's assistant found a test tube in the trash and immediately informed Chang. Furious, Chang confronted Bill, threatening to fire him. However, Bill had already gained the staff's loyalty. He ordered them to capture Chang and his assistant. Declaring it was time to test the cloning compound on humans, Bill injected the assistant. Moments later, the assistant's body exploded. Bill wanted to analyze the experiment's data, but Chang locked the database using his phone. Bill then ordered his thugs to kidnap Saw to force Chang into unlocking the database. At the same time, Sticky joyfully leapt from rooftop to rooftop, excited to meet Saw. But when he arrived at her house, he found it in disarray and realized something terrible had happened. He immediately informed Pharaoh, who mobilized the team. Despite his anger at Sticky, Iron Arm reluctantly agreed to join the mission. Pharaoh tracked Saw's phone, and Sticky pinpointed her location. Meanwhile, in the lab, Bill threatened to inject Saw unless Chang unlocked the database. Fearing for his daughter's life, Chang complied. After getting what he wanted, Bill still prepared to inject Saw, wanting to eliminate all witnesses. At that moment, Sticky burst in and a fight ensued. The rest of the superheroes arrived and took down Bill's men. Bill attempted to escape but was intercepted by Iron Arm, who beat him severely. Desperate, Bill injected Iron Arm with the cloning compound. The compound had an unusual effect on superheroes. Iron Arm transformed into a full-fledged Iron Man, consumed by rage. With one punch, he killed Bill. Iron Arm began wreaking havoc like the Hulk, destroying everything in sight. The superheroes struggled to contain him. Finally, Iron Arm attacked Sticky, but Saw, wielding an AK-47, started firing at him to protect Sticky. Distracted, Iron Arm turned toward Saw. Sticky used his adhesive powers to trap Iron Arm on the pavement. During this, Saw saw Sticky's real face and asked why he hadn't told her the truth. Sticky admitted he was just a handsome but jobless delivery guy, to which Saw sarcastically responded that he wasn't even handsome. Still, she liked him and didn't care about his job. Iron Arm eventually freed himself and charged at Pharaoh. The superheroes united, channeling their powers into Sticky for one final attack. Combining fire, electricity, telepathy, and sticky adhesive, they unleashed a powerful beam that shattered Iron Arm's metallic shell, returning him to normal. With Iron Arm saved and the heroes reunited, everything ended well. Sticky got the girl, the team completed their mission, and all was peaceful, at least until the next adventure. See you in the next video.